Riyad Mahrez leaves Algeria under pressure after Switzerland ended their World Cup. Can Algeria call this one defeat, or is it a reset? Late VAR Drama sends Portugal past Ronaldo scores first World Cup knockout. Modric's run ends. Tablo Sports starts with Mahrez after Algeria's World Cup exit. We start with the fallout, because this is bigger than one result on a knockout bracket. Algeria did not just lose to Switzerland, they lost their captain from the international stage. Riyad Mahrez retires from Algeria duty after World Cup exit. The easy version is to call this a beautiful farewell, but that is too soft for the moment. Mahrez's retirement matters because it turns Algeria's 2-0 defeat into a full identity problem. The question now is not whether Algeria respected a legend, it is whether they planned properly for life without him. Riyad Mahrez has announced his retirement from international football after Algeria's 2-0 World Cup round of 32 defeat by Switzerland. BBC Sport reports that he ends a 12-year international career with 120 caps and 40 goals for Algeria. So let us be clear on this. This is not a vague emotional quote after a bad night. This is the captain stepping away after the tournament door has already shut. That detail matters. Mahrez is now an Al Ahly player, not the Manchester City winger some people still picture when they talk about him, and his Algeria story ends in the harshest possible setting. A knockout exit, no second chance, and no soft landing. Switzerland advanced to the last 16, Algeria went home. Then Mahrez made the personal consequence public. Look, Algeria fans are already debating whether this is a full generational reset, and they are right to ask it. A national team can survive losing a star, but losing a captain after a World Cup exit changes the temperature inside the dressing room. The next Algeria team will not just need goals or width, it will need a new reference point after 120 Mahrez appearances. From one era closing to another era surviving by millimeters, pixels, and a very angry replay room. Portugal are still alive, but Croatia will not be accepting this one quietly. Late VAR Drama sends Portugal past Croatia and into Spain tie. Portugal's win is real, but the clean recap version misses the whole story. The defining image is not just Cristiano Ronaldo celebrating, it is Croatia seeing a stoppage-time equalizer erased after VAR intervention. FIFA can defend technology all at once, but supporters judge these calls by whether they feel like football or courtroom evidence. Portugal beat Croatia 2-1 and moved into a last 16 meeting with Spain, according to Sky Sports. That alone would be a massive World Cup line, but the match turned on a disputed late VAR call, with Croatia's 103rd minute equalizer ruled out after intervention from the officials. Put it this way. Portugal got the result, Croatia got the scar. The reporting we have says fans are split over whether the Snicko-style VAR evidence was decisive or overreach. That wording is important because this is not the same as saying FIFA apologized or admitted a mistake. The call stood, Portugal advanced, Croatia exited. Those are the concrete facts, even if the argument around them is going to run for days. Here is the important bit. Ronaldo is an Al Nassr player now, and his last dance narrative survives because Portugal survived the flashpoint. If Croatia's equalizer had stood, the whole tournament conversation could have flipped in stoppage time. Instead, Portugal move on to Spain, and the biggest match of the next round now carries a VAR aftertaste before a ball is even kicked. And because football loves making one story do three jobs at once, Portugal's controversy also delivered a personal record for Ronaldo. The bracket moved, the debate exploded, and one long-running stat finally disappeared. Ronaldo scores first World Cup knockout goal as Portugal set up Spain clash. The overhyped angle is the usual GOAT shouting match, because that debate eats oxygen and gives very little back. What matters more is that Ronaldo finally scored a World Cup knockout goal in a match Portugal had to survive. Records hit differently when they come attached to Spain waiting in the next round. The New York Times headline says, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his first World Cup knockout goal as Portugal beat Croatia. The final score was 2-1, and Portugal's reward is a last 16 tie against Spain. That is a delicious sentence for neutral fans, and a very stressful one for Portuguese cardiologists. Ronaldo is an Al Nassr player now, but the international stage still bends around him. This goal does not erase every old criticism, and it does not magically guarantee another deep run. It does, though, remove one of the loudest talking points around his World Cup record at exactly the moment Portugal needed him to be part of the solution. So let us be clear on this. Ronaldo has not retired from international football, and Portugal are not waiting to discover their opponent. Spain are next. The real test is whether Ronaldo's moment against Croatia becomes a final great flash, or the start of a nastier Iberian argument in the last 16. The other side of that same result is much colder. Portugal gets Spain, Ronaldo gets oxygen, and Luka Modric gets an ending nobody wanted written by a monitor. Modric's World Cup run ends as Croatia lose to Portugal after huge VAR call. The lazy framing is pure nostalgia, with soft music and a montage of outside-of-the-boot passes. The sharper framing is that Modric's World Cup run ended in a live controversy, not a ceremonial farewell. Until he confirms his international future, the only honest line is that his tournament is over, not that his Croatia career is officially finished. Croatia lost 2-1 to Portugal after that major VAR decision denied a late equalizer. BBC Sport reports Croatia thought they had equalized through Joško Gvardiol in the 13th minute of stoppage time. Then the intervention came, the goal was ruled out, and Croatia's World Cup ended at 103 minutes of drama. Flash Score's headline says Zlatko Dalic felt sorry for Modric after Croatia's exit, and you can understand why. Modric is now at AC Milan, not Real Madrid, and his World Cup story has been one of the great modern tournament arcs. But this ending was not a clean tactical defeat where everyone shakes hands and quietly admits the better team won. Look, do not turn this into something the evidence does not support. There is no confirmed official international retirement in the supplied reporting. What we can say is painful enough. Modric's tournament ended with Croatia denied a stoppage time equalizer by VAR, and neutral fans are treating the call as a cruel final image. Elsewhere, another African knockout story turned into a stomach punch. Senegal were close enough to feel the next round, and then Belgium dragged the match into a completely different reality. Belgium come from 2 goals down to beat Senegal 3-2 in extra time. Belgium deserve credit for the comeback, but the romance of the fight back should not bury Senegal's anger. The real story is survival mixed with dispute, because extra-time football magnifies every whistle. When a team loses from 2 goals up, the autopsy always has 2 parts: the officiating argument and the collapse nobody wants to own. AP's headline says Belgium came from 2 goals down to beat Senegal 3-2 in extra time. Al Jazeera frames it as Senegal's last gasp World Cup agony, which tells you how brutal this felt. A 2-goal lead in a knockout match is supposed to be a platform. For Senegal, it became a trapdoor. We need to be careful with the details here. The supplied evidence supports the comeback and the heartbreak, but not the specific claim that Youri Tielemans scored a controversial penalty. So Tablo Sports is not going to dress a rumor as a fact. What we can say is that Senegal supporters are questioning the penalty call and the stoppage time management, and that frustration is now attached to a 3-2 defeat after extra time. Belgium move on because they found a way through a match that looked gone. Senegal go out because the final phase became chaos. That is the knockout round in its cruelest form. One side gets a comeback clip, the other side gets a summer of replay arguments. Now to a story with a different kind of pressure. Not an exit, not a VAR explosion, but the question that can reshape a match before kickoff. Mohamed Salah is fit, and Australia know exactly what that means. Salah fit as Egypt prepare for World Cup last 32 tie against Australia. This should not be reduced to a Liverpool fitness note because the match belongs to Egypt. Salah's availability changes the emotional temperature, but it does not automatically solve Egypt's tactical problems. Australia benefit if the whole conversation becomes Salah only, because knockout matches punish teams that stare at one superstar and forget the structure around him. The Guardian headline says the Socceroos are prepared to face Mohamed Salah, who is fit for Egypt's last 32 clash against Australia. BIN Sports reports that Salah trained ahead of the World Cup match. That is the update Egypt fans wanted, and it turns the build-up into something far more intense. Here is the important bit. Salah being fit does not mean Egypt can just hand him the ball and ask for a miracle every 7 minutes. Australia will plan for the obvious threat, isolate him, deny clean transitions, make Egypt's other attackers prove they can punish the space. If Egypt become too predictable, Australia will not complain. They will thank them politely and set the trap. Still, Salah's presence changes the game state before the first whistle. He gives Egypt a direct route to fear, and that matters in a round of 32 tie where the winner reaches the last 16. The reporting we have says he is fit, not injured out, and this is Egypt's storyline now. Meanwhile, Argentina are walking into the kind of fixture that looks simple only to people who do not watch tournaments properly. Cape Verde are not supposed to be here, which is exactly why this match is dangerous. Argentina face Cape Verde in World Cup round of 32 as Scaloni warns against upset. The headline attraction is Lionel Messi, but the tension belongs to Cape Verde's refusal to behave like a footnote. Argentina gain nothing from treating this like a victory lap. Scaloni's warning matters because favorites usually get punished when they start playing the badge instead of the opponent. Argentina face Cape Verde in the World Cup round of 32, with Lionel Messi central to the build-up. Al Jazeera lists Argentina versus Cape Verde as the fixture, and Reuters describes Cape Verde as a World Cup surprise package. That is not garnish. That is the whole emotional hook of the match. Cape Verde are being described in the supplied notes as the smallest nation to reach a World Cup knockout match, and that history changes the pressure. Argentina are the world champions. Messi is the global magnet, now an Inter Miami player, and every camera will look for him first. But Cape Verde carry the kind of underdog energy that makes favorites tight, especially if the first 20 minutes do not go to script. So let us be careful with the record talk. We are not claiming Messi has already broken anything in this match, because it has not been played in the supplied reporting. The real story is the danger before the event. Scaloni warning against the upset while Cape Verde walk into the knockout round with nothing to protect except the best run in their history. That brings us back to the result that started Algeria's emotional collapse, because Switzerland's side of the story deserves its own weight. For them, this was not just a win, it was an 88-year door finally opening. Switzerland end 88-year World Cup knockout wait by beating Algeria. Reducing this match to Mahrez's retirement would be unfair to Switzerland. The Swiss did something their national team had been chasing for generations: win a World Cup knockout match. Algeria's pain is real, but Switzerland's breakthrough is the bracket fact that changes the next round. Sky Sports reports that Switzerland beat Algeria 2-0, with goals from Breel Mbolo and Dan Ndoye. The result sent Switzerland into the last 16 and ended an 88-year wait for a World Cup knockout win. 88 years. That is not a drought. That is a family heirloom of frustration finally getting thrown out. Switzerland's reward is a last 16 meeting with either Colombia or Ghana, according to Sky Sports. That creates a very different conversation around this team. They are not just solid, not just awkward, not just the side nobody enjoys facing. They now have a curse-breaking knockout result in the current tournament, and that brings confidence with a hard edge. For Algeria, the same match carries a different consequence: elimination, missed chances, and then Mahrez's retirement from international duty. One scoreline produced two national stories. Switzerland celebrate history, Algeria start the uncomfortable work of replacing a captain. At the same time, Spain did their part of the bracket with far less drama and much more control. No late courtroom football here, just Mikel Oyarzabal putting Austria away and sending everyone toward the Iberian heavyweight fight. Oyarzabal double helped Spain beat Austria and set up Portugal clash. Spain's biggest gift is that this did not become a chaos match. Oyarzabal's double matters because tournament football rewards finishers who do not need 5 invitations. The Portugal clash will be sold as Ronaldo versus Spain, but Spain's own attacking balance is the quieter threat. Mikel Oyarzabal scored twice as Spain beat Austria 3-0 in their World Cup last 32 tie. The reporting says he scored in each half, and Pedro Porro also scored. Spain are not waiting to learn their opponent. They face Portugal in the last 16. That is a serious bracket consequence. Spain did not just advance, they advanced into a match loaded with history, tension, and one of football's loudest personal storylines in Ronaldo. But inside Spain's own camp, Oyarzabal is becoming a very useful answer to an old tournament problem: who finishes the good football? Spain fans are debating whether Oyarzabal is becoming their most reliable tournament finisher, and that debate has teeth now. He is a Real Sociedad player, this is not a transfer story, and the focus should stay on the World Cup. Against Portugal, Spain may need exactly what he gave them against Austria: clean finishing before the match turns into theater. The situation is becoming more complex for England too, because winning has not made the questions disappear. Thomas Tuchel has a last 16 tie against Mexico coming, and his crossing plan is now under the microscope. Tuchel's England crossing plan under scrutiny before Mexico tie. England fans are right to be split, because pragmatism and predictability can look identical until the opponent punishes one of them. The crossing approach is not automatically old-fashioned nonsense, but 35 open-play crosses is a very loud tactical number. Tuchel's risk is that England solve one problem while making themselves easier to read. The Guardian reports that England attempted 35 open-play crosses against Dr. Congo, their most since their 1966 World Cup winning campaign. England won that match 2-1 after going 1-0 down, and BBC frames Mexico as their upcoming last 16 opponent. So no, England have not already beaten Mexico. The pressure is still ahead. Look, crossing is not a crime. Football discourse sometimes treats a ball into the box like someone has offended a spreadsheet. If you have runners, timing, second ball pressure, and enough variation, crossing can be a weapon. But if the pattern becomes obvious, Mexico will see the delivery coming early, defend the box in numbers, and ask England to find a different route under knockout pressure. Here is the important bit. Tuchel does not need to win an aesthetics award, he needs England to survive Mexico. But if the whole plan is too dependent on volume from wide areas, England may spend another knockout night turning possession into hopeful service. That is not a style debate anymore. That is a last 16 risk with 35 crosses already on the receipt. That is the World Cup picture tonight. Mahrez gone from Algeria duty, Portugal alive through Ronaldo and a VAR storm, Modric out in controversy, Belgium surviving Senegal, Salah fit for Egypt, Argentina warned over Cape Verde, Switzerland ending 88 years of waiting, Spain setting up Portugal, and England's crossing plan facing Mexico. The knockout round is doing what it always does. It is removing the polite excuses and leaving only results, decisions, and consequences.